Hey, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to, Wednesday's Market SITREP here at TGO Top Gun Options. My name is Matthew Buckley. My call sign is Wiz, and wow, what just an incredible, whatever you want to call it, spectacle speech. I guess it depends on literally what aisle or side of the aisle that you sit on. Especially last night, I thought it was obviously a very well done speech. The president is very good off the teleprompter, not so good when he's just ad-libbing, but just some great lines in there. I can't even believe the president of the United States had to stand in the people's house and say, "Hey, we're never going to be a socialist country," as AOC and Bernie just kind of scowled there, or the fact that the president of the United States has to stand in the people's house and say, "Hey, how about we all unite against murdering children after they're born?" Any of those lines, guess what, folks? On the majority of those lines, Democrats sat on their hands. Love or hate President Trump, folks, he smoked Democrats out last night of their hiding places, as if he hadn't for the past 2.5 years. So now they're on the side of murdering children, socialism, and you name it, and not even protecting our borders. I mean, that's a sub issue. So the Dow's kind of flat right now. I don't think the market was going to react that much to what the president had to say. Like I said, it was more theater, and the president said last night he's going to get the wall done. I'm going to tell you where there's some potential trade. As soon as he said this sentence last night, I said, "There's my trade," and that's why it's on. I'll get to that in a minute here. But again, really like what's going on down there in Brazil with speaking of Trump, the Trump of the tropics, they're calling him Bolsonaro. Brazilian stocks off to a great start this year with the Bovespa up about more than 8% so far. Let's take a look at what the EWZ was doing. Had a little bit of a pullback the other day, mainly on some oil news. Down about 2.5% here. So nice pop since we got into it on the run on the election of Bolsonaro. So we like our Brazil trade. China, we got long, I called it a burner trade the other day, folks. We got long Monday on FXI. That's the iShares China ETF out to March, about a month out from now. And this trade is already looking really, really nice. We put that on Monday. Look at this. Big pop over the past 2 days, given some of the yesterday's pop back, but really, really good looking trade. Why? Because I think by the middle of, I got to be honest with you, folks, the president looks a little bit desperate to get a deal done. And I fear he's going to get played by President Z, but guess what? He's going to do it just because he needs to get something done. We're going to take a look at a chart of the S&P 500 in a couple minutes here, but he's starting to feel some pressure. I get he's negotiating and, hey, everything's great. We're winning. We're bringing in billions in tariffs, and look at me, I'm great. But this can't go on much longer, and the Chinese know that. They know that the president's boxed in. I mean, if you're sitting in Chinese intelligence headquarters and you watched that last night, you saw half the room wanting to impeach the guy and couldn't even clap, and the other half going crazy. So really, really divided government for the next couple of years. So we got a little bit of small losses, plus or minus, a little bit up and down on the Dow, but we've had a 5-session winning streak on the S&P 500. Let's take a look at this, folks. Whoa. Way too far, way too fast. Ripped right through the 50-day moving average, and where are we, folks? Hanging right above, below the 200-day moving average. As I've repeatedly said, and I tell my Top Gun Options members, the market don't live between moving averages. As you can see over here, this is no man's land. It either acts as a magnet like it did about 4 weeks ago, as we just hovered above the 50-day moving average, and then it got ripped up to this 200-day moving average. Now look at this, folks. Now I'm going to brief you on this real quick. We are this is a potential quadruple top here. This week, or literally today, is literally the S&P's moment of truth. Look at this. This is potentially another bull trap with a doji on top. The short story long, there's a lot of smart technicians out there saying, "Hey, man, this is far too fast, far too high, and we're kind of topping out right around where we did this triple top throughout the fall." So this really is the moment of truth. But I got to be honest with you, folks. We've seen a rally in the fangs. They did not have epic earnings, folks. But guess what? The Fed has given up. The Fed gave up, man. The Fed blinked, and we are back, to maybe no rate hikes, hell, maybe even a rate cut. We might even see quantitative easing again. My God, man, the Fed blinked, and it is game on. The Fed credibility, 1913 to 2019, it was a slow death, and like I said, Jerome Powell really has. Really done a great disservice to this nation and the Fed. But here's what I wanted to get to, real folks. These stocks are the biggest winners and losers from the State of the Union. What are the biggest winners? Infrastructure and defense. What did he say? He talked about the only place, look at this, both parties should be able to unite for a great rebuilding of America's crumbling infrastructure. What's our infrastructure trade? It is CSX, the big railroad company. Warren Buffett loves CSX. Good earnings, good pop after earnings, and it's getting airborne, and even more so this week. Great trade. This is a must for a long-term bullish position in CSX. And even look at this. This one has been on the back burner, but look at this. Look at Raytheon earnings. Great speech last night as far as defense. Yeah, he wants to pull folks home. I get it, but he wants to pull folks home from almost a quarter of a century war in the Middle East. But guess what? Yeah, pulling folks out of Iraq, good idea. Getting people out of Syria, potentially good idea, as long as ISIS doesn't pop up on the radar. But Iran is the biggest issue, folks. Donald Trump ain't going to take Iran sitting down. And a year and a half ago, he threatened to turn North Korea into, fire and fury. He's going to do the same thing to Iran, folks. And you know as well as I do, he means it. But here we are, man. The Fed couldn't be more of a dove right now. And it's game on. It is absolutely game on for stocks. But remember, the stock market and the economy are two different things, folks. The economy is slowing. There is good wage gains, and the jobs report on Friday was epic. I get it. And the president, it was pretty disgusting that all the ladies in white last night, really the only applause line that they all stood up and cheered for was themselves. How egotistical. Even AOC, Alexandria Ortiz, whatever the hell her name is, didn't stand for anything. The only thing she clapped and danced around for was when President Trump said, hey, this is the highest number of women in Congress. Don't hurt yourself patting yourself on the back. But anyway, they didn't stand up and clap with the lowest African unemployment ever in the history of this republic, the lowest Hispanic employment in the unemployment in the history of this country. Nothing. Couldn't get a clap out of him. But anyway, the economy is starting to show signs of a little bit of weakness. But sitting here watching, I'm down here in Miami for some conferences, watching Treasury Secretary Mnuchin on Comedy Central, or what we call CNBC. It's, he's saying the economy's strong, and he's not seeing any of this stuff. But if the Fed's going to give us cheap money, folks, guess what we're going to get? We're going to get stock buybacks just like we saw 2015, 2016. The number one buyer of the S&P 500 in those 2 years was who? The S&P 500. So here we go, buying back shares, and it is game on. It ain't going to be game on until we really burst through this 200-day moving average with some airspeed, and then we'll get back on our climb schedule. But this is a moment of truth here. This kind, I don't think I've ever seen a quadruple top in my life. So this, key area of resistance right now would be this 200-day moving average. And also, what's this about this 2800 level on the S&P 500. So keep your powder dry, guys. And remember, this great speech, at least I thought it was, call for unity. Democrats ignored it. What's going to happen on Friday? Michael Cohen's testifying in front of the Congress, I think, and that's going to be a shit show. So here we go. Maxine Waters, Adam Schiff, all these people looking to impeach the president, even though he looked presidential last night. And even CBS, 76% of the people CBS polled approved it. Hell, even CNN, the Clinton or the Comical News Network, had a 60 some approval rating. The guy did great. love or hate the guy, he looked presidential, and he sounded good. And if you're arguing against, killing babies, or you want socialism, I just don't. I don't think you belong in this country. Go somewhere else. Take your socialism to Venezuela, and take your murdering of children back to Nazi Germany. Anyway, folks, if you're interested in finding out what we do here at Top Gun Options, at least for the next 7 days, for only $38, you can get a test flight into our live trade brief services. All you need to do is head to go.topgunoptions.com/go flight. Just like Apollo. Hey, how about Buzz Aldrin from Apollo 11 last night up there in the gallery giving the president salute? Great American. But go.topgunoptions.com/go flight, and I'll see you in our live trade briefs. Have a great rest of your day. Happy hunting. Make sure you hedge, and I'll be back with Thursday's SITREP tomorrow. God bless. We'll see you.